part of that. So I'm recording now, but I've got this done before. So I'll make sure that I pull a couple of videos together so you guys get everything. And then finally, I want to touch on as our final review here, I want to touch on what we call mindfulness in the neutral zone. And I was telling Keith and Jon that this, I don't use a lot of quotes, but this could be my favorite quote in life now. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. I love that idea. One more time. Between stimulus, so stuff happens, and response, my response, there's a space. Guys, I wonder if this isn't the key to leadership growth in 2021. It's expanding that space. It's understanding that space. It's increasing that space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. That is so powerful, isn't it? I want you to think about that this week. Am I, as a leader, can I increase intentionality and decrease reactionality? I don't even know if that's a word. So very quick, what we've done is we've created a little 3 R's model that I was telling the guys, and this allows us to just capture the inner resource of what you and we all call resilience. So the first R is we recover our thinking. So if we're down here, guys, in negativity, let's say we catch ourselves and we're really ruminating in negativity wherever it is, right? And you know what's cool is you don't have to go right up to positivity. I think that sometimes that's a big jump for people. What do we say to people? Sometimes, Keith, you got your guys, come on, you're too negative, get more positive. Like we've all said that, haven't we, as coaches? And yet, when we get to negativity, I want to give you an option. Here's your option. You can just go up to neutral. And I'd like you to use this little trigger. And what we're going to use for a trigger right now is go to neutral. So in neutral, that's recovering your thinking and you're recovering your cognition. The beauty of the 4 of us is, the world of hockey is our connection. So what do we do when we don't have the puck in the neutral zone? We recover the puck. When you're in negativity, what do you do for the next week? You recover your cognition, you recover your thinking, and you go to neutral. Number 2 is we regroup the puck. Now, what is regrouping? Well, it's looking at options, right? I can go D to D, I can go D up, I can skate. So what do we want us to do here? We want to regroup our options. Okay, next steps. Where am I at? What's the next plan? How can I move? And finally, as you guys, you're good at, let's reattack. Let's reengage. Right? Let's get moving. Let's refocus. So I want you to think this week about utilizing the 3 R's. So regroup the puck, recover the puck, regroup the puck, reattack, recover our thinking, regroup our thinking, reattack our thinking. Okay? Want to take next action. So what we're going to do, guys, is I promised the guys, Tom, that we would dive into this little model here, and this is going to be perfect timing because we're going to talk not only about our energy and about who we are as leaders, but we're also going to start, I promised Keith and Jon that we would start to get into identifying some of the people that we work with and some of the people that we lead. So this is such a simple piece, but you guys know that every element here so well. So Jon, if I was to jump on you and say, okay, Jon, give me a descriptor. What is a fan? Like just in general, no wrong ideas. Give me some ideas, Jon. What's a fan?
I think in the simplest form, someone that connects with a group of players or maybe a player, loves to watch that sport and knows what the logo looks like and sometimes wears the logo.
Yeah, I love it. Totally. So the, in general terms, and I'm just being, I'm just sort of inching it towards, where I need this to go, is the fan has huge association with the team. Your point is sometimes they wear the sweater, right? Sometimes they're passionate, they're excited. Would we agree fans have expectations and fans come into the building, fans, grab a hot dog and a Coke and they have expectations on their team. So let's go to a different place. So Keith, tell me, what is a player? How would you describe a player? That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, player accountability. You got to perform.
Love it. Totally.
Yeah, I'd say perform accountability. You're in control of how you react, and you're how you're going to perform for that whatever lies ahead of you, whatever task you're doing. So,
love it. Totally.
Yeah.
So obviously, the player is, you can see our little connection here. Are we a fan or are we a player? And as we start to think about the people that we're leading, or the colleagues or the relationships that we have, right, in a certain area, do we come in the fan entrance or do we come in the player entrance? Do we come in with, hot dog, Coke, and soft expectations on our team? Or do we actually, Keith's point, do we actually have to perform and are accountable for the outcome? So would we agree 1 to 10, that's a big gap? And I just wanted to give you a visual, of a fan and a player. Now, I want to be careful. For 17 seasons, fans paid my salary. I'm not down on fans here, right? Like I'm not trying to diss them. But here's what I do want us to look at, guys, is for us, one of the key differentiators between a fan in your business and a player in your business is the way we prepare. Think of the best players you've ever coached, the three of you. Talent's right up there for sure. Intensity's right up there for sure. But the other side is this stuff, right? Can you be the best of the best without mindset and belief system in place? Pretty tough. And I think we're all trying to grow that. So this, I'm going to call it game one. So our game one side is sort of a fan player, and this will come together for us here in just a sec. So now, Tom, you're on for the bottom two. So you're going to love this. You hate this as a coach, Tom. How do you describe playing soft? Oh, look at Tommy. He's dying there. He's dying.
Well, for me, like a soft player would be more of a player that just doesn't seem to be interested in competing. Is not real, is almost kind of lethargic, terrible body language, just unmotivated, and not willing to be coached, to take direction, and sort of living in a constant world of maybe fear and tentativeness.
It's good. Really, really love that. Now, you guys know, if you would have ever said to me about me that Ryan, you played soft tonight. Whoa, right? Like my gloves are off and I'm coming after Keith, right? And so that might be the worst thing we could ever say to an athlete. Would we agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I want to say, guys, is that this idea of soft is something that's a harsh reality, but I'm going to show you how it shows up and how it turns up in business. And then obviously, playing hard. I mean, isn't that a great, I just love that concept. So Keith, I'm going to ask all three of you just for a one sentence. Keith, in your business, when you see somebody playing hard, and I don't mean they're living at the business 24/7, but when they're playing hard in your team, Keith, describe that for me. Give me some descriptors.
They're engaged. Engaged would be the big one for me. Team player.
Yeah.
Be, to me, that's, it's like you said, like, you don't got to be there 24 hours a day, but, you got to be the team compete level. I'd say compete.
Love it. That's great. No, those are awesome. Jon, in your business, what does playing hard look like?
It maybe doesn't have as much with, the sweat on the brow, but the person I think has some vision. They see something that the other teammates, don't see, and they're really creative, right? Whether it's bringing some coffee for everyone for that meeting where, they didn't have to. It's doing those things that takes a little bit of work, but they actually enjoy it. They actually enjoy what they're doing.
Love that. I love that, Jon. Tom, in your business, what does it mean to play hard?
Well, I think the ones that do the best job of it are, I'll say, like, resilient. They look for ways, kind of out of the box thinking to get things done. We've had some examples with obviously COVID and the sales team that I lead. They just found ways to interact with customers that are outside of the box and outside of the norms. I work in a very traditional business where it's been, very similar business cycles for a lot of years. And for me, the guys that are playing the hardest are the ones that are kind of removing those barriers and thinking of different ways to be unique and going into the market.
I love it. Love that. So
they're not necessarily the guys that, like you said, that spend 100 hours a week doing the job, but they found ways for them to become more efficient, do things a little smarter, a little faster. And them are the guys that are, in my opinion, are the ones that are playing hard.
I love that. Good job, guys, on that. And I love when we can sort of describe what it means to each of us. I totally align with what you guys are saying. This is not a 24/7. It's not that the tough guy on our team plays hard, and the small centerman doesn't. Right? It's not about stature. It's not about person. It's more about application. And I'll give you an example. When I was with the Abbotsford Heat and the president there, I had one guy in our team. His name was Brian on our sales team. And he was his results were by far the best of anybody in our sales team. And he never came into the office. And so after a little while, I brought him in. I said, Brian, your results are amazing. Why don't you come into the office? He said, I got no time to be in the office. He said, I want to be out there with the prospective people that are going to buy our next products and our next, right? I said, come for one meeting every 2 weeks, but see ya.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a guy that showed up all the time. He wasn't sitting at his desk 24/7. He was just our top producer. So as we start to think about this, guys, I want to give you a bit of a thought process here. Let me go back for a minute. So let me just so there's a 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and very quickly, I want to describe to you a 3-3 player. See where I'm going? So would we agree this is closer to being a fan? The way we prepare, the way we show up is not acceptable. It's not in a great place. And the way we compete, we're competing soft. Okay. 2 things I want to give you before I jump in. I want to try to be careful here. I don't want us to personalize this. In other words, I don't want Jon to call Ryan a soft player. I want us to see this as a point in time where Ryan could play in a 3-3 position for a point in time, But the point is, how do we get Ryan up to a 5-6 or a 7-8? Okay. This is the value as you start looking at your people and at your relationships, is we don't want to personalize it. We want to process it. So what's a 3-3 player? Obviously struggling in both areas, doesn't compete very hard, and doesn't show up, right, the way they need to show up. I have a coach. I'm doing a lot of executive coaching these days, and I have one president of a company, and actually a tourism company, who in week 3 of COVID had to furlough 900 employees. Talk about a tough job, right?
Yeah.
And I said to him, and so I've been coaching Mark now for 16 months. And I said to him, I showed him the model, and I said, give me a 3-3 player. I'm thinking he's going to point to one of the people he had to fire or let go, right? They're upset. He goes, no, Ryan. He said, that's my CEO. And I'm going, what do you mean that's your CEO? He said, my CEO has taken everything personal. He's on the edge of depression. He hasn't talked to me in 3 weeks, and he won't make a decision. Can I just be careful with this model, guys, and say to you, I'm ashamed of this, but I've been a 3-3 player at a point in time before. I remember being a big part of the 1989 run to the Cup against Calgary, and we lost. And so now I'm an older guy on a team that has just lost a Stanley Cup. You guys know what's coming. My coach, Pat Burns, the next year yells at me. I thought it was unjustified. And he'd sort of been cutting my ice time throughout that whole time, and I understood that. But I was PO'd. I thought he was bang off. And for a little point in time, I was in a, if you don't care, I don't care mode. So I'm a veteran and I'm a competitor. And fortunately, I was in a 3-3, point in time for just a short time. And then I got myself back up to 8-8. But we're all in agreement that we're human. We can get there.
Yeah.
So let me just give you a better one. I asked the president of this company, I said, okay, so give me a 6-8, give me an 8-8. He said, I got 3 of those. He said, these are my direct reports. The 3 guys that report to me have never been better. In the depths of COVID, they have pulled stuff out of their, rabbits out of hats. They have been the best. They've been the most creative. They have just knocked it out of the park. He said, my 3 direct reports, I'd put them closer to a 9-9. Here's the model, guys. Number 1, I'm going to personalize it, and I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but I want to get a sense. I want you to get a sense of where you're at during certain times during the week. And the goal is not to identify and personalize it and say, okay, Ryan's a 3-3 player. The goal is to say Ryan is at a 3-3 moment in time, and how do we help get them to the next level? As a leader now, if you have, let's call it a 9-4 player, that you have to help them increase their compete level. But obviously, if you've got, let's call it a 4-9 player, then you have to help them prepare better and work on their belief system and their mindset. So I want to lay this out there for you as a tool that you can use. And here's what I get excited about. I had to throw some helmets on, right, guys? You got to have a helmet. Come on.
Yeah.
So as you can guess, right? Soft fan, soft player. Hard fan, hard player. Isn't that simple? So we wanted to sort of create a simple way to identify, and you know what I love about this? Sometimes the model, I like to call it more than skill. Because there's, the skill of the person is nowhere in this connection, right? This is preparation and this is competition. It's those extra pieces. It's when the puck's in the corner and John goes into the corner with a 6'5" D and John comes out with the puck. Like that for me says everything about our game. So one of the thoughts that I had, and I just want you to think through this and then give me your ideas, is this really helps us to better understand sort of the commitment process, doesn't it? So if you've got a player where you've got to maybe do some work with that potential player, I want to give you resources as a leader and as a coach to be able to better sort of coach the inner game, the compete level of your player. So, Tom, just a gut feel, what hits your gut when we talk about the concept?
Well, I try to relate it to, either players I've coached, experiences I've had, or even in my current situation, trying to be like in sales leadership. I try to visualize where I'd put some of my former players on, but also some of my current staff. And, I could think of a couple examples of where, I would have somebody that's, in the hard zone, but not, in terms of preparation and mindset and beliefs, maybe isn't committing, in terms of preparing themselves and where they're not currently having success. And then I can think of, several of players that, looking back on it now with hindsight's glasses on, I would have changed maybe my approach in fully understanding kind of when you put people in a certain area of that graph, and then you go to the area of what's the desired result. Well, your plan of action, I could think of several instances where it would change. And you could be more specific in terms of somebody that's working hard, that's, an athlete that's in the gym all the time, he's relentless. But in his preparation, he probably maybe didn't understand the game very well, didn't understand what you mean when you talk about routes, quiet zones. If Johnny remembers that conversation I had with the Japanese player. Just, some of my approaches would have changed. And I think that's to me, it's a tool that you can quickly observe, but you can also make real kind of qualitative action items, like real action items that have real good substance to them and can actually help, get you some quick wins with an individual.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And what we've noticed with other clients is that this visual is so simple, but so powerful when we lead people, because we can literally, put it on the table, slide it across and say, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Where have you felt that you've been over the last quarter?
Yeah.
And it's not to say you're that, it is to say that we want to coach you into a better place. Yeah. John, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, like, I even find, just kind of thinking about this, even in my own personal development, there are days or moments in time when you feel like you're a 3-3.
Totally.
But I think the power with it is recognizing and then giving yourself some tools to get you back to where, you're in sort of a higher performing realm. Because we all get to that point, whether it's a bad day or, you just get distracted for whatever reason, and you get into that, that zone that's not real positive. But I think with something like this, you can refer to and kind of get yourself out of the spiraling drain, if you will. Like, I know, I speak about some of my experiences, with losing my daughter and kind of dealing with that and kind of working through that over the past 4 years. I know that there's times when I get into that. I would say that sort of negative space there, and recognizing that and finding tools to get you back out of that and sort of out of the drain, if you will,
Yes.
have been very powerful, been very powerful for me personally.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Tom, for sure. The other thing I want to say to the three of you is I have noticed, yes, it's an indicator of a point in time for us and our people, but I've also noticed that the four of us need to be in all four places during our lifetime, right? So there's a time when we have to back off and be a soft fan on a Saturday morning with a newspaper or, with a good book. Isn't that true? Like we can't be on all the time.
Yeah.
And yet we're asking our people to be on most of the time. Jon, how does this hit your gut? What hits home with you when you see this?
Well, it's easy to make excuses. There's things where let's go to business. Within the details and the process, you may feel like you're bringing a pretty high commitment, but it's still a team game. Business is a team game, I think. And what does the language look like to where in different scenarios, you're able to understand when that person's actually understanding what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's different wavelengths, and at times maybe it's confidence, right? Where instead of them taking a piece of information and processing it to make them better, they feel like they're being ridiculed and put down just because it's being portrayed in the wrong setting. How many times have we heard, well, that's something we talk about just in the dressing room.
True.
But then some coaches go out and use the media and forget that the dressing room is the most, sacred place for the whole team, right? Like, it still blows me away to think that, I know I'm getting off topic here, but to think Coach Kruger, and he's an amazing leader, but you'd go to the media and make a statement saying our team has no confidence.
Yeah.
There has to be some confidence. So, low commitment, high commitment. That's something that jumps out at me as within those conversations. Is it best said one-on-one? Is it best said as a group? Yeah. And whatever I'm bringing, I'm still a small part because it's either a team win or a team loss, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, Jon. I agree, and I love the way that you've extrapolated the concept out into team. I love that too. How does it hit home for you, Keith?
Yeah, just looking at being a soft player, soft fan, hard player. To me, it's everybody's been in all the the quadrants there. It does teach you. It's a growing. It's personal growth. It's good to realize, or good to be in those spots. You realize where you need to be. It's experiences. It's the journey. It's it's where you want to strive to be. For me, it's I want to be a 10 out of 10 all the time, but you can't sustain that. You realize that you can be a fan sometimes, a soft fan, but the mindset it just gets you to me, it just coaches yourself, and you're able to you had those experiences and you can share with others and coach others. But it's just to me, it's you've been in those spaces and you can realize that this is where I need to be. I've been there before, and to me, it's the experience that gets you there and keeps you there.
It's really good. Yeah, thank you for that. One more layer, guys. So from a leadership point of view, so we're all leaders, and we all have formal and informal leadership expectations on us. Here's what I'd love to challenge you just to think about a bit. Does my leadership style over the long run, right? Does it sort of move people towards hard player? Or does it at times move people towards soft fan. And the two words I want to sort of identify are observing and participating. So I'll give you an example. I don't know how many times I've heard on NHL benches from you coaches, come on, boys, stop thinking. Right? Because
Just
when
play.
we think,
Just play.
What's that, Tom?
Just play. Just play.
Right? Because when we think, we're in conscious thought, and when we're in conscious thought, we're slow. Why would that be any different in sales, in leadership, in business? It's not. We need to increase flow. Flow is when we have observed enough, agreed? And now we do, and we do non-consciously. So I want you to think about your leadership style, your leadership process to actually long-term build hard players. The other thing, John, and I know that you spend a lot of time in sales, I love sales, is it would be interesting to think about this concept, John. I'm not trying to jam it into everything, but in the context of clients. What does the client need? What does the client need from us to stay up and be a hard player? And because a hard player is going to buy more, a hard player is on our side, a hard player is moving with us, instead of, maybe the hard player is competing, but doesn't have the mindset or the belief system in our product, whatever. So I'm not jamming it in, but I wanted to sort of leave those two thoughts with you guys. We're coming up to sort of finishing up. And so I want to give you one more piece. And then what we do, Tom, every time that we're together, the four of us, is I want you to identify, each of you, what one thing really hit your gut this training, and how will you promise to action it this week? Okay, that's what's coming. I'll come back to the three of you, and we'll talk through that process. One of the things that hit me, we're going to go deeper into our hope and our trust model, and we'll identify that for Tom in a minute. But I wanted you to glance, guys, as a final slide, at this idea of high hope, a high hope person versus a low hope person. Okay, now I know there's lots of us that are right in the middle, and I get that, but just sort of have your eye glance on the left-hand side of that screen, right? So, this is what we want to grow as leaders. And would we agree this is what we want to be as leaders? So, have brilliant, clear goals. We're writing them down in our journal. Agency is such a key word, and choice now, right? We believe that we can not only choose to do it, but that we have the path, the agency to do what we're in charge of. We're in the place, and I really want to honor the three of you. There should be another 100 people on this call, right? But what's so cool? I want to honor the three of you. There's not the other 97 aren't here. Who are here? You guys are here, right? It tells me everything about your character. It tells me everything about your desire to learn, to get yourself to the next level. And Maxwell said, leaders are learners. Leaders are learners. That's you. I honor you. Number 4, so we're into learning from, tough times. We're good at that. We adjust. Then you look at the next one there, right? We understand stress and distraction, and we've got plans to be high performers through it. This is a really interesting one for me, and I'm going to challenge you a little bit on, because I'm trying to be better in this area. I'm consuming goal-oriented media. So look at the opposite there on the low hope person, consumes pessimistic and hope-crushing media. Wow. That's an interesting thought when we think we've only got so much energy during our day. Who gets to affect our energy? We use humor and we recover, right? To keep and recovery to keep perspective. We're extremely gritty and resilient to difficulties, to challenges. You look at Carol Dweck's work, right? With the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. And so we're in that growth, that place of growth mindset. And then we have high accountability to ourselves and to others in the org chart. And people with, sort of a low hope person has low accountability. Now, what we're going to do, and I always try to set this up for our next time. So, Tom, this is where this is all going to come together next time, is we're going to dive deep into what we call the hope trust model. And we're going to talk about high hope versus low hope, high trust versus low trust. And we're going to see our people in this model, but we're really going to get into this idea of team. Okay. So what kind of team do we have? Do we have a green team? Hopefully we're nowhere near a red team, as you can see the indicators. But here's a couple of things that we're going to really dive into. The real friction between high hope and low trust. And we find that so many of our clients are leading teams that I'll never call it a yellow team. It's an amber team, not a yellow team. And here's the other place that we have clients, all kinds of teams in the blue zone, right? Where we've got too much negativity, even though we have high trust. We're just steps away from being red. That's where we're going. Okay, guys. So as we finish up, we're a couple minutes away here. So let's, hey, Keith, guess what, Keith?
Yeah.
Hang on, Keith. I'm not picking on Jon today, Keith. See? So Keith, guess who I'm picking on, buddy?
Tom.
You. So
Yeah.
Keith, give me one thing that hit your gut today that really made sense. And how will you put it into action? How will you action it this week?
The slide with observing and participating, where you're at. For me, a lot of I'm in some meetings, end of the week coming up here. We got Friday off, but I could get to a 3-3 here, coast a bit, but just want to finish off strong. Been noticing a lot on my meetings lately. I'm always participating, bringing the energy. And sometimes I feel like it's too much. People are very quiet, and sometimes I'm reserved at the end. And some people say, "Oh, Keith, you're quiet today." And I say, "Oh, well, I guess." But sometimes you just got to be yourself, throw in the value and speak, add value. So yeah, just keep finish off strong for myself. Big week. It was good week. Yeah,
it's really good, Keith. Thank you for that. That's awesome. And Keith, remind me to talk to you about Dave King's, he calls them carriers. And
okay.
We'll give you a process that Dave King developed with the St. Louis Blues and other teams. And I think that'll be powerful for you. All right, Jon, guess who I'm coming to, Jon?
Yeah, you bet. First off, Ryan, really thankful for you making time. I know a lot of times these teaching moments you have, 10, 15, 20, you've got a lot of people, and I really thank you for making time to connect with us and teach us where we can listen. The two themes of increase flow and protect flow is what jumped out at me the most today through the session. And, just within that thinking of, different areas of the past that you may feel you had been hard done by or wasn't fair or whatever that scenario might be. The only way we're going to be able to increase that flow is to let go of that, to say, you know, that's the past, you know, and you can learn from whatever that negativity might be. And as you said, you know, you're going to create more space in your brain to then do more good versus the side of being bogged down with whatever that might be from that past. So thanks for that, Ryan. Oh,
you're welcome, John. And I love training with you guys. This is fun. Tom, what hit home today, and how can you action that?
Well, Johnny took my first one, but two other things that really resonated with me was when you made the comment about the action that creates, there's a space between what happens to you and then the reaction afterwards. Yeah, like I found that to be a very powerful comment. And I when I reflect on certain successes in my life, I found that the reaction or the space in the middle has been dealt with very good. And I can also think of many examples where the where the outcome was not so good.
Yeah.
So that really resonated with me. But also the 3 R's: to recover, regroup, and reattack. That for me is a kind of a mindset where you challenge yourself that no matter kind of how you deal with adversity or how things come to you, there's lots of power in taking time to sort of refocus, regroup yourself, and then maybe come at it at a different angle or from a more positive space, as opposed to just lashing out and reacting. Like, kind of come to it from a different quadrant in your mindset, from a more of a strategic or a positive approach, as opposed to reacting and potentially going quickly to the negative.
It's really good, Tom. Thank you for that. So, gentlemen, we're going to focus on green team energy next session. And have a great week, and have a great weekend too. And what I'll do is I'll like I did last time, I'll recommend a couple of training times, and then you guys can tell me what works. Okay. Awesome, guys. Have a great
thanks
week.
For your time, Ryan. I really appreciate it. Who you got tonight in the games?
That's only if you only know that if you're in the room. Do you hear an excuse coming on there? What a cop-out I am.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that Tampa Bay power play is something else. I don't know if I've seen them execute like.
Awesome, guys. Have a great day.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay, Johnny.